What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of X Factor Fantasy Football. I hope you all having a spectacular day. Hope your day is going well. So, Jordan will be joining us at some point in time in this discussion, y'all. We are getting ready to talk about a bunch of stuff that happened this weekend, a lot of different things that are going wrong around the NFL. And my bro Jordan is in here tonight with the turtleneck. My boy is dressed to impress for winter. Brody, what's up?
Not much, bro. Just on the road, just out and about. But had to stop by. Had to be here like I am every Monday to discuss all the weekends happenings in fantasy football. It was one of those crazy weekends that we always talk about looking back. One of those weeks at the end of the year that we'll look back and say, did not see that coming from a real standpoint and from a fantasy standpoint. So let's get into it.
Bro, so everybody obviously already sees the topic of the show. I don't know if you got a chance to see Cooper Kupp this last weekend, but I know you obviously have, you got Puka on your roster, so obviously you watch the LA Rams and everything else. But yo, Jordan, so Justin Jefferson is down right now, at least for 4 to 6 weeks. You got some up and down plays so far this year, even though Jamar Chase for the last 4 games has really been like a top 4 QB or top 4 wide receiver. I think he's wide receiver 4. Devontae Adams started off really good, but again, because of the way they were playing him yesterday, they were trying to double his way. The Patriots were, so they were throwing the ball to other people. Tyreek Hill is on pace. I think he has, what is it, Jordan? 886 yards,
6 weeks,
or something like that in 6 weeks. So there are some options there, but with everything that you're seeing from Cooper Kupp so far, he's been back for 2 games, Jordan. And the dude has been dominating the target share. He's been dominating the catches that he's been getting. So Cooper Kupp, just this last weekend, 27.8 fantasy points. The weekend before, 19.8 fantasy points. He has 7 receptions for 148 yards and a touchdown. And they didn't play him down the stretch of the game in the fourth quarter. So if you had to pick, do you think that Cooper Kupp is on pace to end up being the wide receiver the one the rest of the way, or do you think somebody else is going to take that spot?
Yeah, so I think it'll be Tyreek. I think they will continue because I don't think their offense is going to slow down all that much. But I will say I think Cooper has a chance to be top 3, which is why you don't give a guy like that away unless you're desperate, right, when he goes down. Because all indications were he would be back right after the injury. So I would say he definitely has a chance to be top 3, especially with Justin going down. I would feel very comfortable saying he's going to be that second or third guy. I think Chase will finish above him the rest of the way, but he's going to be right there, in my opinion. He's, like you said, he's back to getting his target share. He looks like himself, which is the main thing. So, yeah, I would say definitely top 3, top 4 guy. I would probably say comfortably top 3. And then just in that offense in general, I think the target share is kind of breaking down how we expected it. We expected Cooper to come back and get his targets. He had 9 yesterday. I think they threw the ball, 24, 25 times. Cooper had 7 targets, and then nobody else had more than 3, I believe, something like that. That's what it's going to be, like the 2 of them eating up 2/3 of the target. So Puka owners such as myself, don't fret. You'll be fine. We're good. As a matter of fact, if you don't have him, I try to go buy him right now as a flex or a wide receiver too, because I think that those 2 are going to – I think Cooper's going to be here at like top 3 receiver, top 4 receiver, and I think a guy like Puka is going to be top 15, top 20, which those could be your 2 starting receivers every week, and you can be all right.
So let me ask you – I got a trivia for you. So here are 6 of the 7 top receivers in fantasy football on a per game basis in terms of averages. 1 is Tyreek Hill, 26.8. 2 is Keenan Allen, 25.8. 3 is Cooper Kupp, 23.8. 4 is Stephon Diggs, 23.2. 5, Justin Jefferson, 21.8. And then 7 is Jamar Chase at 20.6. Can you tell me who, according to the Sleeper app on a per game basis, is the wide receiver 6 in fantasy football?
Wow. So you said 5 was how many points?
5 was 21.8 for Justin Jefferson.
And then 6 was
7 was 20.6 from Jamar Chase.
Man. Okay, give me.
I'm gonna give you a hint just so you like. It's not Devontae Adams because again that's one of the names you didn't hear. You heard Diggs, Jefferson, Chase, Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, and Tyreek Hill.
Okay, just give me a second here. I'm gonna try to not take too long, but I'm gonna try to get together a guess. I'm trying to go through all the teams in the league real quick. I want to say Amon-Ra. I'm just going to say Amon-Ra. Just go hometown. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Because I don't want to belabor the point for too long.
All right. So just to help you out again, Amon-Ra has averaging 20 fantasy points a game, but he's on 11.
Oh, so I wasn't that far off. Okay. So
it's a couple names in front of him.
Yeah.
DJ Moore at 10, AJ Brown at 9.
Yeah,
and then your guy, Puka Nacua, is at 8. So who is at 6?
Who's at 6, man?
Again, let me read you some of the names behind Amon-Ra. Jacoby Myers behind Amon-Ra. Devontae Adams behind Amon-Ra. Nico Collins, Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, George Pickens, Michael Pittman. They're all CeeDee Lamb, all behind Amon-Ra.
Man, so this is gonna.
This is not the first year he's been a volume red zone merchant. He's done this for about 8 to 9 years now, but this year he's just booming out of nowhere.
You said a red zone merchant.
Yeah, for years he was known as the touchdown guy in a highly touted offense. And again, taking red zone reps away from a better receiver. That's the number 2 for a number of years.
Oh, okay. I think I know who you're talking about because this is the guy who in our draft I wanted, and I said I wanted, and I think someone stole him right before me. I can't remember who. Is it Thielen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen, sir, wide receiver 6. Listen to this. Week 1, everybody's like, whoever drafted him, you're not playing him. 3.2 fantasy points. Since then, 20.4, 31.5, 15.2, 27.7, 28.5.
Volume.
I knew somebody who took him in the top 4 rounds in one of my other leagues, and including me, thought that was the most ridiculous thing ever. And then all of a sudden, Adam Thielen currently is wide receiver 3 on the year on a per game average.
To be fair, 2 things can be true. That still was pretty ridiculous because he could have got him a lot later.
Right.
It worked out though, because I didn't foresee this. I saw him more on like if you look at somebody like Christian Kirk's numbers, he's just putting up consistently like 15 a week. I saw more somebody like that, but he's putting up wide receiver 6 numbers, which is pretty crazy with a rookie quarterback. The reason I wanted him later in drafts was because I knew he would be somebody who's reliable and you would feel comfortable starting on a weekly basis, because he was really the only guy that was there who you could say had some kind of real pedigree. And just his play style as well. Is really very much a possession receiver. Good for a rookie quarterback. But yeah, he's exceeded even those expectations. I still want to have him as more of a flex or a 3.
You don't trust the production is going to sustain itself.
Yeah, exactly. But if he is your 2, ride the wave. You don't bench him. You don't get too finicky. Reminds me of a little bit of Cordero Patterson. Either last year or the year before, where it's like you're expecting the shoe to drop, and the shoe just never dropped that entire year.
Right. It was running back 4 or whatever else.
Yeah, he was a top 6, 7 running back for the entire year, and if you probably lost a couple matchups if you were like trying to expect the other shoe to drop. So I'm still starting Adam until he has consistent weeks of like not of production slowing down. But I would personally, if I could have him as more of a flex or like a wide receiver 3, that would be I would feel more comfortable with that sweet spot. But I'm playing him every week if I have him at this point.
So anybody that you're looking at this last weekend that is your best performances, I want to give a shout out. Drake London. We have been waiting on Drake London to have a really good performance like this. Now, he's had a couple good games, so far this year. You know, had a couple 18.7, 11.8, 14.6, but had his high of 21.5. And he had 12 targets, 9 catches for 125 yards against the Washington Commanders. So I really want to give a shout out to him, because you know what? If you got Drake London in your roster, you see a dude with an immense amount of potential, just doesn't get the volume in Arthur Smith's offense.
Yeah, or from the quarterback. It's one of those situations where you wonder who's more at fault. But nevertheless, if you're an owner of, fantasy owner of Drake London, you really don't care who's at fault. You just know your guy isn't getting the ball. So, again, that's still a guy I want on my bench as like my 3 or 4, because any given week you need to plug and play. He can have a good week, and because the talent's there. And if the talent's there and it's on the field, it can make a play at any given time, and that could swing a matchup either way. So Drake's still someone I want on my team. I think we have enough data of history of receivers starting fairly slowly, and even in their second year, and then turning it on. Or the coordinators realize, hey, we should probably use this guy more. So when you have guys like that, you keep them. You stash them.
Hey, even Kyle Pitts got his first touchdown last week.
Exactly. Wow, which is insane to think about.
Fourth overall, first touchdown.
First touchdown. Insane. But hopefully that's a harbinger of things to come. But in terms of
by the way, bro, I don't know. Have you paid attention to Dalton Schultz at all?
I have. Dalton Schultz.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been going off, man. Again, like, this is a dude that, because me and you have talked about like Mark Andrews at points in time, and I was like, man, I just can't trust this tight end position.
Yeah.
But Dalton shows 3 straight games, 13.2, 19.5, 16.10, going into a bye. But he seemingly has become a favorite of CJ Stroud, and I don't know how sustainable it is. But again, the Texans might mess around, and make the playoff, bro.
They might,
like, for real.
They just look good. I mean, you knew the defense with D'Amico was going to be, he was going to get the most out of it, even if the personnel wasn't all you left something to be desired. He was going to get the most out of whatever they had, which is the case. And again, like I said, they don't have a rookie. They have a rookie quarterback, but they don't have a rookie quarterback. They just have a guy who's
insane, bro.
He's just, he finally threw his first pick 6 weeks in as a rookie, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, he's a vet at this, and so I would expect them to keep giving him the volume of throwing the football, and I expect Dalton to be a beneficiary of that. And then if you think about it, quietly they have some good people to work with there. I mean, Damian, even though he's down this year from a fantasy standpoint, still talented. Obviously, we talk about Nico a lot. They have Tank, who's supposed to be back after the bye. Dalton has always been good. Dalton was one of the better fantasy tight ends when he was in Dallas. So they have guys. There's no reason why they can't remain competitive. And I think their approach is going to be to continue to let their rookie quarterback throw the ball.
So we have some other big performances. Raheem Mostert with no Devon, 34 points. He had 115 rush yards, 17 receiving yards, 3 reception, 2 rush TDs, and a reception TD on 3 targets. So every time Raheem Mostert is healthy, bro, 49ers or Dolphins, if he gets volume, he's cooking everybody. Cooking everybody. Then you had your guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 30 points, 12 receptions, 124 yards, touchdown, and had 15 targets out of the slot. The 5-1 Detroit Lions, by the way. So, again, man, the only downside of them is that if they keep being too good and they got to they're sitting at the year at 14-2, or if they're sitting at 13-2 or whatever, and they decide they don't want to play hard the rest of the season, and then now you got to put them on Rod down. But if they're competitive the rest of the year, high. Oh, and by the way, it looks like David Montgomery's not going to be available this weekend. We'll definitely talk about that on Wednesday. This might be the first Jahmyr Gibbs game, or even Jameson Williams. That's his first big game as well. Yeah,
that's the beauty of the team. There's, gift and a curse. We have a couple guys go down. We have a couple guys come back, but we have the guys. So, guys like Jahmyr, J-Mo, we'll see. One thing about J-Mo right now is he's very much, it's going to be 2 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown, or he's not going to catch the ball. But it'll be interesting to see if as the year goes on, if he starts to get more involved in like the intermediate game, starts to get more of a target share as well, instead of just being boom or bust, from not just a fantasy standpoint, but just from a like production for the team standpoint as well. You know, the way that the offense functions, there's a lot of ball handling that has to go on a lot of our plays, a lot of checks. There's a lot of, stuff that you have to really be in tune with. And, he struggled with drops in practice and kind of being on the same page with Jared in practice and things like that. Plus he's just getting back. So as the year goes on, it would be interesting to see if he's worked more into the offense and trusted with some of the more intricate responsibilities on some of our plays that entail a little bit more from week to week.
Yeah, and so let's get to the disappointments, because there's a few that we can get into. So again, bro, Jonathan Taylor, I have him in another league, and it's not that he doesn't look good. I just think it's okay. He just came back from being out for so long. But I guess for you, if you're a Jonathan Taylor manager, how are you feeling right now? 9 points in half PPR league, basically 19 yards rushing, had some reception yards in there for 46 yards, had 5 reception. Basically, that's where you got a lot of this value from. How would you feel right now if you're a Jonathan Taylor manager?
I feel good because if I got him, well, put it like this: if my record's fine, I feel good because if I got him, I probably got him between 4th and 6th rounds. And he's probably my RB2. If he's my RB2, I feel kind of iffy right now. But if he's kind of like how I was with Kamara, for example, I had Chubb, Kenneth Walker, and Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was kind of like a guy who of course he has RB1, RB2 upside, but at the same time, if nothing happens with him, then it's fine. If you drafted Jonathan in a similar position, then I think you feel okay because still some points. It's not like he's going to use 0. And then at the same time, I'm encouraged by, I think he had 6 targets, 5 or 6 targets. That encourages me. Using him in the passing game, still finding a way to get him involved as he's working his way back. Had 8 carries, so he still had a fair amount of touches. And I think in his rookie year as well, if I'm not mistaken, he started a little slower and came on. So he's shown in the past, at least on one instance, where he can start a year slow, and then by the time he finished that rookie year, he was guns a-blazing. So that's a guy I'm holding the line on. I'm still putting him in my lineup as my 1 or as my 2 or my flex, or RB2 or my flex. If he's your RB1, trouble, yes. But if he's your RB2 or your RB or your flex, like, you're in a good position because I think he's got good weeks coming back up based on getting the passing game usage already, 5-6 targets, and then also just his history of showing that he can work his way through a slow start.
Right, I agree. Yeah, you got to play him. He got more of the touches and the workload in the backfield last week. So you could definitely see that continue to increase. But I think another disappointment for me, and that's not even his fault, Devontae Adams, another single-digit game back-to-back weeks. But again, it's just the way that teams are bracketing him right now. And again, Jimmy Garoppolo down with an injury. Brian Hoyer comes into the game. Jacoby Myers is seemingly the main target because apparently, because of the way that the Patriots were playing coverage, they just didn't want to throw it to him. They were too tight at spaces. So I have Devontae Adams up there. And I'm not going to put Debo. Debo had a shoulder injury, so, you can't ever control injuries. But those are some of the players that come off top of the head in terms of actual disappointment from last Sunday. Yeah,
I agree. I would add, I would add Puka for this week, even though I think it's a blip, because, again, the targets were still very much there, 7 targets. And he only threw the ball 25 times. So that was still fine, but disappointing in terms of the amount of points, though, that you would want from him. The game script, they got up early, and it was it was a moot point. Those games happened. D-Hop is definitely another disappointment. I mean, we've seen a couple flashes this year of it being there, but the quarterback play is just not good enough to where you can trust him on a week-to-week basis. So for me, I have him, and he's someone who I have as probably my wide receiver 5 right now on my roster. Now, I tend to build up receivers, so I could be not the best case study for this, but I mean, I have Jacoby, I have Christian Kirk, I have Puka, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. All those guys, you could make a case for putting them in your lineup above DeAndre Hopkins. So maybe he's my wide receiver 6. I don't know. Just because the quarterback play, I mean, you look up every game. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to watch every Titans game because who would do that to themselves? But you look up and, it's 3 minutes to go in the first half and they have 5 pass attempts for 44 yards. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that as a DeAndre Hopkins fantasy owner? So, yeah, D-Hop is definitely one of those guys because the talent's there. He's not as good as he used to be, but he still is good enough to be a top 20 wide receiver if he has suitable quarterback play. And it's just not the case. And when they put in the backup, it doesn't get any better. So,
right. Yeah, again, some disappointment from this last week. Even again, pointing out injuries, not disappointing, but Joe, obviously you got injuries with Justin Field. Looks like he might miss at least one game. David Montgomery looks like he's going to miss a game. Obviously, Devon Achane is still going to be out for a little bit. Saquon Barkley came back from injury and honestly looked good. He got more of his feet underneath him, and that offensive line is just dismantled, man. They had to put Justin Pugh at the left tackle position yesterday. It's just really, really, really crazy. And Austin Ekeler is slated. We're talking about Monday Night Football now. Austin Ekeler is slated to come back tonight. So if you're playing Cowboys Chargers, are you rolling everybody out tonight? Is this one of those like bombs away games where I think the score might be a little bit higher?
I think so. I think this is one of those games. I think the Cowboys are very, very because this game's being played where?
Ooh, let me see. Let me check.
Yeah, because I'm definitely interested in it. It's definitely interesting to me, depending on where it's played. But either way, the Cowboys are.
Looks like it might be in LA.
Okay, so it's a Cowboys home game. Okay.
Chargers.
No,
I got you. Yeah.
Definitely a Cowboys home game. Maybe even more so than if it was at in
Dallas.
Yeah, it's going to be a Cowboys home game basically. I expect a lot of fireworks out of this game. I expect the Cowboys to be very mad from last week. I do expect them to have a high offensive output. Chargers defense is, leaves a lot to be desired as well. But their offense does not. And so regardless of Dallas's defense being really good, I do expect them to be able to move the ball. And I think this is going to be one of those shootout games. So I'm starting everybody. So I'm starting Justin. I'm personally starting Dak. You don't necessarily have to start Dak this week, but if you have him, I'm fine starting Dak. I'm starting
Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb.
Okay. Yeah, maybe even Jake Ferguson because he's in that tight end streaming range. If you're somebody who streams tight ends, so I'm probably firing him up too. Keenan,
Joshua Palmer.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with Josh Palmer as like a flex for sure.
Yeah.
Not the most ideal flex option, but I'm comfortable with it. I think this is one of those fire everybody up games. I think this is going to be a very good game amidst a season of not the best of primetime games. So hopefully we get some fireworks tonight because we surely need it.
Yeah, it's just been a wild fantasy football season so far. One of my leagues projected for over 135 points, and then I'm not going to score over 100 points. And then I scored one of my friends, Daniel. Actually, he's in our league here in the Swiper League. He had the team projection. I think it was like 147. You know, he's a loaded roster. And they scored 69 points so far with 1 to play, Keenan Allen, and he's going to get wiped out this week. So fantasy football is nuts. Like, you never really know how it's going to go.
It's one of those years, and this was definitely one of those weeks. I know for me, let's see, D-Hop, Puka. Yeah, those are the 2 guys who were really disappointments. But even looking on my bench, there were a couple guys who I could have started, could have put me in better position. I still have an outside chance tonight. Needed 60 points from 3 people. Crazier things have happened, but I might come up a few points short this week. But this is definitely one of those weeks. Let's see. I'm looking at our league here. But then again, you're kind of helping out. You look like you're on your way to winning.
Well, do you think Tony Pollard gets 24 points tonight? That's the only thing I have to be worried about.
It's possible for sure, but I think because you're done 24. Yeah, it's possible. So, and this is one thing, like the projections, I would have that more 60-40 than 81-20, which is what it's showing. But I that it's possible. I would say it's an outside chance. 24 is a lot, but it's definitely possible for sure.
Well, I just love as soon as my roster gets healthy, I start putting up these gargantuan numbers, and the other person can't seem to stop scoring. Last week, Frost chased me into the 170s, and now I might be chasing to the 140s this week.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So it looks like all the top seeds. It looks like Sosa's going to win. But yeah, the top seeds last week were kind of vulnerable. It's like this week they're kind of vulnerable as well. So I'm here for that. I love because that makes it later into the season. The more teams are involved, the more entertaining it is for all of us. So I'm definitely excited to see things kind of contract together standings wise as we go on.
Well, we have a lot to tap into, a lot going on. We've got Monday Night Football tonight, y'all, so make sure y'all tune into that. Jordan and I, maybe Jenna, will be back on Wednesday to get ready to talk about Thursday Night Football and a lot of really, really crazy games. Heavy bye week, by the way.
Yes.
So please make sure you're working your waiver wire and be in conversation with people. Justin Fields is out with an injury. Does that person need a quarterback? You got Anthony Richardson still out. By the way, people keep sleeping on Michael Pittman for some reason, but Michael Pittman's having a great year. Great year because they're just throwing the ball and trying to catch back up and get back in the game. Calvin Ridley, who I also thought was going to end up turning up this year and being one of the best 6 receivers in fantasy, continues to have some up and down performances. So you all let us know what you think. We will see y'all on the other side. X Factor Fantasy Football. We out.